we still gotta get used to this thing. Mike's worked with this a little bit more than I have. I probably should have taken more time to work with it. All right. Anyone have anything? Anyone want to comment on what we just went through?
This is huge, man. I've been studying Daniel's prophecy and the time period from the going forth of the rebuilding of Jerusalem, of the command to rebuild, until Christ would be 77 or 490 years. And I want to try to tie this in on the work that Dawn and I have done with Jesus Christ, the star, the birth of Jesus Christ, because there's a real cool, real cool, what's his name? What's his name? Did the work on it. Has
Martin. Martin.
Is it Barton?
Martin. Martin.
That's the one. The work. The time down to exactly what the all the way to 3 BC. I mean, it goes. I mean, they really. I can't. I'll think of his name, but I really want to tie that in with that teaching next year, maybe, with the Dawn and I do, because this lineage here and this rebuilding of this temple, and it's so amazing because it's the signal of the coming of the Lord too. I mean, that's why those prophets and everybody were so waiting for Jesus Christ's return during that time. That's why what was the prophet's name where when they took him in for a circumcision, the prophet and the prophetess was in Jerusalem, that was promised that they would see the day of the Lord.
Simeon and Anna.
Yeah. Well, part of the reasons why they knew that the time was coming was not just the revelation, but the confirmation from the word, from the prophecy from the book of Daniel concerning the 77s. And this time period here, this rebuilding, marks that. It's really, really, really cool.
Huh. Interesting.
The Second Temple period, yeah.
Yeah.
They were really expecting him to come. I mean.
Well, now that brings up a question I had that it kind of tweaks it, makes me remember. I had a question when Don was teaching, and it said that Cyrus was going to build the temple. Now, so he was going to rebuild it. So Solomon was before Cyrus, and he had already built the temple. Okay.
That's right.
It was totally destroyed.
Yeah, that's why I made a point of pointing out that Cyrus, his mother was Esther in the book of Esther. And all three of these books happen way out. They're in 400, like 300 and something BC. That's talking about 1,000 years before Psalms, and Psalms was written. Yet they're still in front of those books.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because, and Dawn, maybe you can help with this, and this is part of the stuff I'd like to look into concerning this stuff, is that, I mean, the Second Temple didn't actually get completed until Herod, right?
Yeah, Herod finished it.
Yeah. So that's how long it took to actually get this thing built, because of that adversarial opposition that was coming across trying to stop that thing from being built. The devil's always after the word. They knew the Christ was coming, and they were doing everything in their power to stop it, to make God a liar, to not allow his word and the prophecies that came through the prophets to contend with that to the point to disrupt it to where it wouldn't happen. Can't beat God, though. He came, he saw, he left, and he is. Jesus Christ came.
Amen.
That that I'm picking up some of Heisner's stuff, and I'm looking at the term. We use the term Gentiles all the time when we read Christian writings because that's frankly the way it's translated. But it's really a better translation for that word would be nations, because you had Israel, the called out of God, and you had all the other nations. And this calling to the nations that God was trying to achieve during this time, to make Israel the light, the shining light on the hill, and then all the nations were supposed to be guided toward that light. They were supposed to, Israel was their example of how things could run. And if you think about the Garden of Eden, all the way back to the beginning, what did God tell Adam and Eve? He said, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it. They were supposed to take, a lot of people get messed up. They think the whole planet was paradise, and that's not what the Bible teaches. The Bible, Eden was a place on earth. It was the God, it was where heaven and earth met, just like the temple area was a place on earth where heaven and earth met, where God would come to be with his people, the holy place, the reflection of heaven. Well, Eden was that original spot on earth.
Yeah, it's called the garden.
The garden, exactly.
It's not the entire planet, it's the garden.
Exactly, but they were supposed to subdue the earth. They were supposed to take that idea of paradise and take it across the world, literally. And when that didn't work because they blew it, you had the incident with the angels coming down and producing the Nephilim, trying to destroy the entire race because of the promised seed, trying to destroy the promised seed. And so God deals with that with the flood, and he sets up Noah, and he tries to get man to govern himself. And Noah wasn't a Jew. A lot of people don't realize
Yeah.
Noah was a person that produced the nations of the world. That's where you have the table of nations that come up out of Noah's lineage, and that's basically showing you how man was. All this stuff keeps coming up, and God keeps up with the plan because he's got this idea in mind. And so from Abraham and his lineage, you have all the nations of the world. Well, they weren't doing a very good job of governing themselves, so we had the Tower of Babylon, right? where they started building the great tower because they were going to bring themselves up to gods. They were going to touch the gods. That's the idea of the Tower of Babylon. They were going to raise themselves to their own height. So God he's done with these nation thing because it ain't working too good. And what he's going to do, he's going to turn the nations over to angelic beings. B'nai Elohim is the term, sons of God. And he's going to go after Abraham and bring a nation to himself, to focus on that nation, and then all the sons of God, the ones that were put over the other nations, was supposed to bring those nations Israel. Well, that didn't work out good either. The sons of God rebelled. The angels rebelled. They were supposed to be doing one thing, and they were doing the exact opposite before it was over with. But all this time, God's trying to get to this seed, to this man, to get this thing produced so he can save humanity. That's all he wants to do, is provide salvation for humanity and seal up evil, conquer evil, because this evil thing just ain't working out too good for God. It's just trying to destroy everything, and everything. The devil's constantly trying to stop that because he knows in that seed it's going to smash his head. It's going to destroy him. It's going to, and the more prophecies that come out about it. So this part here is, once again, God's trying to. He's got a problem. Israel wasn't listening. They got carried away and got taken over because of their disobedience. And now he's trying to put it back together so he can provide what he prophesied would happen to that point. And again, this is progressive progressive revelation. It's Genesis 3:15. We just a seed of a woman. That's what it is. It's no more, no less. Abraham, he looked for the seed out of your loins. That seed will come. But it progressively unfolds more and more about who this man would be that would come and redeem God's creation. And the devil's just there pounding away all the time against God's will. And he does the same thing today with the Christian church. You finally get to the body of Christ, and this is the great mystery, the secret that God hid, the true fellowship, that Christ wouldn't be alone. He was going to have many brothers and sisters. He was going to come back and help restore not only Israel, because Jesus Christ will be King of kings and Lord of lords. He will sit on his Father's throne, but all the nations of the world. That's part. We're part of that plan, where we're going to come back with him to help with the rest of the nations, because the original sons of God sucked. They blew it. They didn't do a very good job of leading the nations to Israel. Well, that's the 1,000-year period of time. That's a lot of what we'll be doing. So, anyways, it's beautiful looking at this constant, consistent faithfulness of our Father, just continuously pounding away. No matter what the situation throws in front of him, he just keeps pounding away to get to that goal. So I don't know. I'm sorry.
Well, who's going to listen to that stuff, Michael?
Yeah, right. Yep. Yep.
Well, I think it's amazing how they kept records of their generations. 2,172, somebody had their sons. That's quite amazing, And then as I was thinking about that, I thought, well, God knows every hair that we have on our head and how many we lose every day. So I shouldn't be amazed, but I am still by, just the accuracy of the word and how they kept record of how many people were in a person's generation. To me, that's really amazing.
Well, think about how easy it is for God with Don Colford as far as counting the hair number.
I did look at my brother Don, but he actually probably has to shave it, so that he's got little hair particles in there.
He's probably got more up underneath his nose than he does on top of his head.
The counting is easier that way, right?
Right.
Well, not everybody can pull off a shaved head, but you definitely can.
Well, I guess to answer my question, it doesn't matter. It's like the word, you can't understand it. I mean, how it works. So it's just speaking the word is what matters. And because, it just, to me, it's like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but.
Reveal the things that we need to know, and as we learn and we grow, he always gives us something else to think about or shows us something else. So I think that's kind of where you were coming from, John.
Yeah, you're right, Dana.
That's the beauty.
Yeah, it's just frustrating because the sin looks so enticing and so much better than what God's word's truth is, But the truth of the word is that the wages of sin is death. But that just doesn't, somebody hears that and they go, oh, malarkey, I don't want to, that's, but.
Well, that's because he's got an excellent way of covering things up to make them look so good. And God
Well,
exposes.
yeah, right.
Might take a lot of men and a lot of generations to find that believing person, but when it happens, God's will
Hey,
happen, period.
I mean, I could see why the angels in heaven rejoice over that because,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, definitely. Because it's like, there's going to be a lot of people going to be kicked, pushed, or they'll just have to walk into the lake of fire. And I don't want to see any of that happen. But, you think about the millennial time, the little bit that I know about, when we'll be here, there'll still be people that will still, it's just terrible that what happened in the Garden of Eden. But it's so nice to be with God and be able to fellowship with him and I just, what's it say about where their minds are blinded by anyway, the darkness is just
That's when we get humble and thankful that God looks upon the heart of man.
well, that's right. Good. Yeah. Hey, that's great. I'm there with you. I mean,
Because we've been blessed to see God in his goodness and his son revealed to us that we're like God, not like God. Was a terrible thing to say. But we want every man to come to a knowledge just like God does.
well, I mean, I don't think I hear what you're saying that, yeah, I mean, we're like God. I mean, we're not God. I mean, we want to be imitators of God. Yeah. But yeah, that's right. We want people to come just like God does to the knowledge of his truth.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
God got the
It's
wrath a long time for a lot of evil things because they didn't know about the adversary. And
Yeah.
that's exposed so that you had a choice from our freedom of will that God gave us to choose the good or the evil.
One of the things we tend to forget is that the devil comes presenting himself as an angel of light. And there was a verse I saw yesterday that said, the devil is beautiful.
Yeah, it was in
So,
charge.
if people are only going by looks, they'll go to the devil every time. If you don't know the word, you have almost no way to defend yourself. Because you're gonna go to the devil because it all looks so good. It looks good, it feels good, it tastes good.
And that's why God taught us about vanity, so that we could discern.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, it's a humbling privilege to be able to try to do it anyway.
Yes, sir.
You ready always to give an answer to every man that asks you the reason of the hope that is in you?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So the broader scope, as our scope of scripture grows more and more, what's supposed to be the result of that is that it's supposed to get bigger and bigger, because that's what energizes us. Not what is, but the fact of what will be. And as we manifest that, believing is the substance of what?
Things prayed for.
Yeah, so as I visualize what God is doing in Christ more and more from the scope of the word and what he has had to go through, and just how contentious and evil really is, then it's supposed to energize us. It's supposed to, what is it, name of that book, The Christian Hope, the anchor to the soul. It's supposed to be what we anchor ourselves in, and we manifest that. The temple was a manifestation, a reflection of heaven, to the degree that men and women would come together and do the will of God. He wanted to show himself. The garden was a reflection of God's love and what he wanted for his man. We, as Christians, are supposed to be a reflection of God's love and what he wants for man. And the bigger we see the hope and the more scope we have, that will radiate to people. That's why it says, be ready always to give an answer to every man that asks you the reason of the hope that is in you with meekness and fear. That's because we see what will, not only what is and what was, but what will be. and that lights your face up. That lights your, it's like a pregnant girl. You ever seen the face of a pregnant woman? She's she's all lit up and she's got that glow about her. That's because there's life generating within her. That's the way the Christian's supposed to be. And it's that hope that gives that light. It's that hope that gives that spark. We're supposed to, anyways. If we see it for what it is. If we see it as playing harps with Jesus for forever, that's a kind of a limited, how much glow can you get out of that, right? But if you see it as the conquest of evil and bringing in an everlasting kingdom where God comes back to the planet to walk with his man, and during the 1,000-year, God, the Lord Jesus Christ, actually fulfilling all the promises that God made to people throughout time. I mean, that's pretty awesome. And we have a part in that. And now we're supposed to be lights to the nations, lights to the world, to say, hey, come on the train, get on board the mystery train down through the ages of the world. Get on that train. I have a new outlook for people that condemn Christians that believe in the rapture, or as I like to call it, more the gathering together of the church. But they call, a lot of them tease Christians and try to put them down because they see the Christians that see that separation and that pre-trib rapture. Everybody else says you're just trying to escape the wrath to come, and yes, I am. Peter in his original sermon said, get away from this crooked and perverse nation and accept the redemption God has made available. Every administration has had salvation in one way, shape, form, or another presented to it. And not my fault God had a secret, and his secret was a body of beings that would come together with Jesus Christ in such a united way and purpose that it would make his return to planet Earth totally unimaginable, but unopposed. Nobody's going to be able to oppose the force that God's sending back to this planet.
And his judgment is so.
Jesus Christ is coming back. He ain't coming back as a carpenter's son and a mortal body that's going to be able to be hung up on a tree and murdered. He's coming back as King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and he's got a lot of folk coming with him. And God is going to restore the promise to Abraham. What was the promise of Abraham? Through your seed, all the nations of the earth will be blessed. That seed wasn't talking at that time about a seed of many. It was talking about the seed of one, which is Christ. That's what Galatians teaches us. But what we find out from the secret is, there's a whole bunch of them people with seed coming back, and we
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
nations of the world will be blessed through that seed of Christ, of which we will play a major part.
And to be able to watch that, wow.
Watch it, heck, do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There'll be some serious butt kicking going on too.
There's gonna be some serious butt kicking going on. I want a flamethrower and a battering ram. That's what I want.
I'm gonna ride that horse with blood in my thighs.
Evil.
Well,
Go.
you know, I think about there's a lot of people that are saved and, you know, born again. They just don't have what we know as the sacred secret, and they're going to have to be educated at some point in time at the gathering together somewhere along the line. I mean, we all will, because we'll have to be trained in different ways to when we come back after 3.5 years or whatever's going to happen. But yeah, you're right. I mean, even if they don't have an accurate knowledge of truth, at least they're going to be there and be able to be educated or brought to a place in the Lord's army to come back and straighten up a whole lot of crap here.
Jesus Christ is commended for his hatred of evil. He, just like his Father, he hates evil because of the terrible things it does to people. It's evil is if we could see evil for what it is. What was that movie with all those kids? For that Evil Rock. Evil was. Anyways, I'm going off. Evil is horrendous. It's
And Jesus Christ walked the face of the earth and he saw, you know, and his compassion was great. Like he said, Lord, forgive them, for they know not what they do, because he knew we were stupid and ignorant and needed a lot of help.
It's like what Don was saying. I mean, the angel of darkness is beautiful, but the evil that lurks behind his mask is just terrible.
Yep.
Yes. But I'm sure that we've all run into people in our lives that their outward beauty was something to look upon, but as we got to know them more, some of them just weren't quite so pretty anymore.
Mhm. Mhm.
Boyhood crush I ever had, right?
Yeah, we're not supposed to be ignorant of the wiles of the adversary, and his wiles, his methods are simply lies, deception, all that kind of stuff. What's the other word I was looking for? Counterfeit. Something nearly or very nearly like the genuine, but not.
The knowledge of the tree of good and evil. That's a huge thing, Don. That's cool. It wasn't just evil. It was that it looks good. It's got good attributes to it, but it's the heart of it is evil, good and evil. The knowledge of the tree of good and evil. Don't eat it. Don't eat it. Run away. Run away. Run away.
Well, his end result, I mean, if he had a mission statement, it would be that he wants as many in the lake of fire as he can, because he's here to steal the word, kill you any way he can, and then you'll be destroyed in the lake of fire with him.
Absolutely. Take as many down as he can. That's a good point. If I'm going down, if I'm going down, all y'all are going down with me.
So that's why we're supposed to stand, and although we may not understand the words we speak of life or light, it still does something in the realm of possibilities.
All I can say is it ain't gonna be us.
Yeah, we're not on the burning end of that stick.
Yeah, we're on group one.
Mhm. That's
Yeah.
right.
Those people that we read about today, they were amazing in their visions. They were so amazing. Some of the things they accomplished. What's that? The Believers Hall of Fame in Hebrews 11.
Hmm. Somebody's phone ringing?
I got an alert. It's going to rain here in a little bit.
Oh, okay.
That's all.
Well, there's worse things, you know.
Mhm.
My little weather app.
Yeah, well, truthfully, I remember years where we were at the Rock of Ages and they needed rain.
Mhm.
I can remember getting my butt wet at the Rock of Ages because we got rain.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sleeping in the middle of the night in a tent, and all of a sudden, boom! You woke up and you felt like you peed your pants. Then the next year, I put duck's ass on my tent.
Yep.
Oh, you got to seal these things. I see. Okay.
Yeah, I remember years where it rained and rained and rained and just didn't stop.
Hmm.
Until we sat on the ground singing, I shall not be moved.
Yep.
Okay, folks, it's going on 10:15. Do you want to continue on or do you want to call it a night?
Night, night.
Yeah, I'm going to go to bed.
Okay, so we'll see you later. Good night. Whoops. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thanks for coming, guys.
Good night.
Bless you all.
Good night.